Salam Sejahtera and welcome to another edition of Perception, where we discuss current issues that are of concerned discussion to multicultural Malaysians of all walks of life. Ladies and gentlemen, our topic of discussion today is Parti Sosialis Malaysia, or PSM, today. And to discuss this matter, we have with us Mr. S. Aruchalam, the Secretary General of Parti Sosialis Malaysia. Saudara Aru,
Yes.
on behalf of TV Pass, I thank you for being with us on this edition of Perception.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Saudara Arul, PSM is going through a traumatic and challenging time with the detention and release of its 6 leaders who were subsequently charged in court. How has this saga affected the morale, support and resolve of PSM in the Malaysian political landscape?
Like Gilbert, like you have rightfully said, it has been a hectic moment for PSM in its short history. But what was surprisingly is that we survived. We survived what we considered a clampdown. And what was interesting that the Malaysian public, many people did not believe the government's viewpoint on PSM. Or all this while we know there were a lot of fabrications, but we thought that with the kind of accusation put against the PSM, it would have really affected us. But to the contrary, what has happened is that the party became more popular. More people wanted to join the party, and I think this is a kind of a protest by Malaysian against what went through.
Saudara Aru, public perception is that among the political parties, PSM took the brunt of the wrath of the UMNO BN government in the run-up as well as after the Bersih rally. Is there any particular reason why PSM has been singled out to incur this wrath of the UMNO BN government?
Yeah, we have been also discussing about that, because one we think is that the campaign PSM was doing was udahlah bersaralah. That means it's enough, retire now. That was a campaign done to call the Malaysian public to ask PN to sort of retire after 54 years in power. And the target of this campaign was in rural areas. And just before 2 years ago, similarly, we had a bicycle campaign, nationwide bicycle campaign. This is very similar. It was in the bus campaign. And what has happened that, but this time it was tense because of Bersih. So there was an extra ingredients. The police were already very unhappy with PSM because PSM has been, PSM people normally really go down to the ground, campaign, and they are quite unhappy with the style PSM does. But with this Bersih rally together, coming up with our own campaign, we felt that the government used the opportunity. And maybe they thought, PSM is a small party, compared to larger parties like PAS or PKR. They thought maybe by attacking PSM, making PSM as an example, that would have helped to create. They felt that the resistance would be quite small, not if they touched on DAP or what. Maybe that's why they targeted PSM.
Saudara Aru, the UMNO Barisan government tried in vain to imprint the communist tag on PSM. For the record, is PSM communist or socialist? What is the history of the party?
Okay, I mean, historically, the government has been using the communist bogey on a lot of people, including, I think, some past leaders as well, and it's not something new. And what has happened at this time around, we were quite surprised because this is the post-Cold War era. There's no more Russian bloc and all that, and we ourselves, it will be political suicide for PSM to be a communist party, because I think the communist party does not have the support of the people anyway, and PSM position has been to form a socialist party. and we fought 10 years to get the party registered. And what was quite interesting is they kept changing the goalposts. Initially, they stopped the bus saying that these people are waging a war against the king. Then they talked about foreign elements. Then they talked about communists. And then they talked about Bersih, So they were keep changing different items to see how the public perception, And ultimately, none of that sort of people believed in any of that. And for the record, PSM is a socialist party. We are registered as a socialist party. And just about a year ago, a question was asked in Parliament, and the Home Minister said there's no more communist threat in this country. So we thought they just tried their luck, by throwing the communist thing, because they felt that that would scare the public. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for us, was that the younger generation don't understand this word communist. I think today's world, they would understand things. They will worry about things like Osama. These are the current threat used by the ruling party to scare people. So when they use this word communist, a lot of younger people did not really, I think, buy the story. And you can see these T-shirts about sickle and axe, which even myself and I think the older generation, we are very afraid to go near those. But the younger generation, they wear this as fashion. They see such symbols as whatever, and they wear that. So I think it's a complete different ball game today.
Saudara Aru, despite its long struggle to get PSM registered as a political party, PSM has persevered and continues to persevere fearlessly among the downtrodden, the displaced and marginalized sections of Malaysian society. What are the key issues and concerns of PSM in this area?
See, PSM being a socialist party, and we looked at issues basically on a very class position. We look at the problem of the society is because of the capitalist system, which is oppressing the people, and we see this happening, in like privatization of basic amenities like hospitals, educations, and all that. So some of our major campaigns are to ensure that hospitals are not privatized, water is not privatized, basic amenities are not privatized. Besides that, we emphasize a lot on issues of workers, urban poor, the settlers, urban pioneers. A lot of our struggle is rooted with the struggle of the plantation workers, the urban poor, the kampongs, like Kampung Brembang and Kampung Bumi Hijau and plantation Bukit Jalil and all that. So it's very tailored towards those group of people, and the issues are normally oppression by bigger corporate sector in collision with the ruling party, because the ruling party is into business. They are more into business than running the administration of the country, and because of that, we face this as one of the major problems. And most of our current struggle is fighting for the minimum wage, fighting against the GST, goods and services tax, fighting for public stopping privatization of healthcare. These have been our major concerns.
Saudara Aru, in today's context, what would be the vision and mission of PSM as a political party?
You see, one we think this country is riddled by racial politics. When we wanted to bring back PSM, bring back socialism, one biggest thing we wanted to do was to break through, because the ruling party uses this race card and religious card time to time, to ensure the people are disunited. And our main position is try to unite the people of various races so that they can get the better for everybody. That seems to be our major vision. And we believe that the people, have the power and they need to be organized. That's why a lot of our struggles are rooted from the grassroots. People are demanding for better facilities, better housing rights, and we work a lot with these people, trying to empower them to ensure that they get something better. So we believe that two things. One is, it cannot be race or religious based, it must be class based. Secondly, that the people have to develop confidence to organize themselves to fight the exploiters in this case.
Saudara Aru, in terms of membership base, which are the states in Peninsular Malaysia that PSM has a very strong presence?
Actually, PSM, to be very honest, is a very small party. Comparatively, it's a very small party, and we have members in all the states except Terengganu. We don't have a party office there. In every other state, we have a presence. We especially we have a larger presence in Perak, Selangor, Johor, and Penang, where we have much more members. And our members are mainly Indians and Chinese, as well as a small group of young Malay people. This is basically our membership. We also have a larger number of communities we work with, and that communities are much larger. That means we have about 280 community-based organizations. That means like urban poor settlements, farmer settlements, factory committees. So we work on two fronts. One as the party, one as working with a larger community base.
Saudara Aru, we will take a short break now. To our respected audience, I trust you will be with us when we return after this break. Welcome back to Perception. Our guest this week is the Honourable Secretary General of Parti Sosialis Malaysia, Saudara S. Aruchelvam. Saudara Aru, MIC would like the public to believe that they played a significant role in securing the release of the 6 PSM leaders under detention. How does PSM see it?
Actually, I think MIC does not have any choice, because the public sentiment was so powerful. In fact, Kyrie called for the release much earlier than MIC. In fact, UMNO, MCA and Gerakan made the call for the release much earlier than MIC. And MIC was in tremendous pressure. And if you read Paliniwi's actual statement, he was saying that if you put them there, they will win election without campaigning. He was not concerned more about the human rights violations which comes with the EO detention. He was more concerned that we are losing elections by having these people inside. And I think that is the fear. And MIC had to get them released the day before their annual assembly. And I think the pressure was tremendous on the MIC to somehow get the release, But the pressure, of course, came from the people, and MIC had to do it. They don't have a choice.
Saudara Aru, in 2008, the Indian vote was a consolidated potent force. Public perception is that in 3 short years, UMNO BN has neutralized this consolidated vote force into different entities. How do you perceive this public perception?
I think, though there has been some data saying that some Indian vote has gone back, significantly I think the Indians are generally with the opposition. It's not a situation where the Indian votes have gone back to pre-2008. our feedback is a lot of, in these by-elections, a lot of people have been voting the Barisan Nasional, for example, and a lot of them were saying that they're going to vote the opposition the next general election. I think the mood is like that. And even very recently, the EO6, during the campaign rally, the number of temples and public perception among the Indians, as well as, you know, during the Bersih rally, a lot of Indians actually came to the streets. So, and I work a lot with the plantation community, and I mean, this other community was at one time the vote banks for the Barisan Nasional. I don't see that today. The people have been two things, you know. One they also followed politics in Tamil India. In India, Tamil Nadu, politics affects a lot of Indians in Malaysia. They read the Tamil newspaper, and they see the government that keep changing, and they have that feeling here. You know, they see the TV. You know, thanks to the global TV, they watch TV channels in India. They see how governments are changed, and that feeling is there. You know, and we see that newspapers, Tamil newspapers have been much more vocal compared to before. Before, you have entirely all the Tamil papers singing one song. Now, no, you know, a lot of half of the Tamil papers actually talk about the opposition. And in the EO6, Tamil Nation, the main paper which belongs to Sami Velu, was giving all the highlights to EO6 for the release of EO6. So I think things are changing, and that I don't think so Indian votes are in BN's bag. I don't believe that.
Saudara Aru, the Allah issue incensed the Christian community, whilst the interlock issue infuriated the Indian community. Public perception is that the Allah issue is still ominously in the air, but not the interlock issue with the Indian community. Is this true?
You see, certain for PSM, for example, you know, there are issues which are put forward, you know, to a certain race, like for example the intellect issue, and that intellect issue actually a lot of Indians were very frustrated with it, you know. But again, you know, if you ask us whether it is a planned attack on the Indian community or not, I would not say so, because that interlock issue actually affects the Chinese as well as the Malays, you know. And so I think the interlock issue has been one issue, highly politicized, but at the same time, I think Indians are generally quite frustrated with day-to-day issues, you know, day-to-day issues, unemployment, you know. There are a lot of youngsters still joining gangsters and all that. Actually, they can't find a way out. Plantations are being displaced. They don't have housing. So these are actually other major issues, you know. I think the intellect issues have sort of, I wouldn't say it has died off. It is in people's mind that, you know, in the intellect issue, that it was not solved, though the government tried to do something, you know. But I think that issue is still in their mind. But there are day-to-day issues which they face elsewhere, which I think also affects them.
So, would you say that the interlock issue is resolved as the BN would have us believe? Or do you think the interlock issue would come to haunt the UMNO BN, as well as invoke the consciousness of the Indian community during the general election?
I think a lot of issues will come and haunt the Barisan Nasional. One will be this interlock issue. Another one would be this Bukit Jalil case, which is one of the longest plantation, the only remaining plantation in KL. Because in Pulau Pinang we were talking about Buah Pala, you know, but here it's a plantation in Kuala Lumpur, and they lost the case, and they might come and evict them. So I think a lot of people they can't understand why giving for this plantation when there were 1,800 acres of land previously given out to golf courses, LR. So the Indian community sees this as unjust. You understand why Tamil schools cannot be fully government aided school of this years. So this are, I think, quite serious concerns of the community. And I think the government recently tried to give the plantation workers a pay rise using SIMDAB. But I think people look at this as truly election gimmick. Yeah.
Saudara Aru, what is PSM's official status or relationship with Pakatan Rakyat?
Okay, this is always a very interesting question. Actually, PSM will consider ourselves a Pakatan-friendly political party, because in Parliament you have, the UMNO-friendly political MPs, and our MP, Dr. Jayakumar, has been very consistently pro-Pakatan. We vote along Pakatan lines. We have not become a member of Pakatan Rakyat, and PSM feels that we feel that in this coming election we will work with Pakatan Rakyat to topple the Barisan Nasional. I mean, that would be our goal, and we think that we have a good working relationship with the Pakatan, and we will work on that. Yeah.
Saudara Aru, in under 3 weeks, we will be celebrating Independence Day. What would PSM's Merdeka wish and message be to all Malaysians?
I think the independence means freedom. I think the main thing in our head today is, do we have the freedom? Because today I think people are even worried to wear a T-shirt with a yellow color. Is that the kind of freedom we are looking for? I think this for this Merdeka, I think it's very critical for us to reflect on the state of the government today. How much freedom that the people of this country have in expressing themselves peacefully, and we have an electoral system which is not free and fair, and when you question that, you get attacked. So I think this Merdeka, we hope that the real freedom comes. I think that would be our wish.
But freedom just does not come that way.
Yes,
Saudara Aru.
True.
In every endeavor, you have to fight for it. So we go to the next public perception. Public perception is that perhaps Malaysia has to reclaim their independence from UMNO BN government. What is your perception on the matter?
I think that's also precisely what we were doing in the Udahlah Bersaralah campaign, because we felt that it is time that the BN has to go, and UMNO, being the leading party behind the BN, need to actually go. And they're not just going to go away after 53 years, 54 years in power. But history has shown us the power of the people, And I think the Malaysian society is getting matured in that sense. We are not listening to all crap stories anymore, and that's the good thing. And I think the Bersih spirit sort of shows that in spite of the detention of top leaders of Pakatan and top leaders of Bersih, the people could peacefully exercise their freedom of assembly, freedom of democratic rights. I think that is something very critical which we've seen today, and I think that is what is going to make these changes happen. I think people have overcome the word fear, and I think that is important.
Saudara Aru, on behalf of TV Pass, I thank you for being with us on this edition of Perception. To our respected audience, very especially our Muslim audience, I wish you Salam Ramadan. To all Malaysians, wherever you may be, I wish you a relaxing weekend and a productive week ahead. On behalf of the production crew of Perception, until we meet again next week, I wish all Malaysians Hidup Raya, Hidup Pakatan Raya.